Hey, what's up, everyone? So, right now, we're going to talk about this article from the Texas Tribune. It's pretty disappointing. It says Texas Supreme Court lack of immunity to coronavirus alone isn't enough for mail in ballot. Written by Alexa Ura. Alright, so the Texas Supreme Court ruled on Wednesday that a lack of immunity to the new coronavirus does not qualify a voter to apply for a mail-in ballot. Already this is stupid, because I'm pretty sure what I have heard is that if you recover from COVID-19, you cannot get it again. However, I believe you can still carry the germs probably, and you can still spread the germs of the virus and spread the virus. But anyways, pretty much it's like chickenpox. I'm pretty sure you can get it, and after you get it, you can't get it again, and nobody's immune to it. I mean, I'm sure I'm pretty sure there's no human being alive that is immune to COVID-19. So in the latest twist in the legal fight over voting by mail during the coronavirus pandemic, the court agreed with Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton that the risk of contracting the virus alone does not meet the state's qualifications for voting by mail. We agree with the state that a voter's lack of immunity to COVID-19 without more is not a disability as defined by the election code, the court wrote. Texas voters can qualify for mail-in ballots only if they are 65 years or older. What? Have a disability or illness, will be out of the county during the election period, or confined in jail? Dude, in California, any single individual person can register and receive a vote by mail ballot. What the hell's up with Texas, bro? The Texas election code defines disability as a sickness or physical condition that prevents a voter from appearing in person without the risk of injuring the voter's health. Although the court sided with Paxton's interpretation of what constitutes a disability, it indicated that it is up to voters to assess their own health and determine if they meet the state's definition. We agree, of course, that a voter can take into consideration aspects of his health and his health history that are physical conditions in deciding whether, under the circumstances, to apply to vote by mail because of disability, the court ruled. The High Court also rejected Paxton's request to prevent local election officials from sending mail-in ballots to voters who were citing lack of immunity to the coronavirus as a disability. Those officials denied they were operating outside the law and argued they cannot deny ballots to voters who cite a disability, even if their reasoning is tied to susceptibility to the coronavirus. Let me tell you something. If we're a democracy, you shouldn't be denying people the right to essentially qualify for a vote-by-mail ballot. Vote-by-mail ballots, those should be optional to every single American. They shouldn't be restricted to people who are meet certain circumstances. Are you freaking kidding me? What kind of democracy does that? That's not democracy. Out of here, dude. When voters cite disability to request an absentee ballot, they're not required to say what the disability is. The voters simply check a box on the application form, and if their application is properly filled out, local officials are supposed to send them a ballot. The state ultimately conceded that officials can't reject those voters. The all-Republican Supreme Court. Wow, big surprise, am I right? The all-Republican Supreme Court had previously put on hold a state appeals court decision that allowed voters who lack immunity to the virus to qualify for absentee ballots by citing a disability. That appellate decision upheld a lower court's order that would have allowed more people to qualify to vote by mail. The justices had not ruled on the merits in that case, but in considering Paxton's request, which they took up in a virtual hearing last week, they grappled with how to interpret the state's eligibility for absentee voting. Bro, are you serious right now? So y'all are going to meet online virtually and say that people have to do the opposite and go in person and be right next to each other to vote? Why don't y'all get in the courtroom and make these decisions without wearing face masks? if y'all gonna make some dumbass decisions like this and put Americans at risk instead of practicing democracy and giving people options. What the is wrong with you, bro? In its order, the court indicated that two justices, Jeffrey Boyd and Jane Bland, agreed that a lack of immunity fit the first half of the state's definition for disability as a physical condition, but found it didn't meet the second half because it is highly improbable for the voters overall to contract the virus. Yeah, it's highly improbable for people to get a highly infectious virus? It's highly improbable, huh? This is a joke, bro. No wonder climate scientists are... no wonder Republicans are climate science deniers. Look at this. They're literally denying science right in front of us. Medical science. Science of... whatever. So, in a concurring opinion, though Bland suggested higher rates of infections in some communities could present a health risk for some voters, specifically those who lack immunity and have health histories or physical attributes that make them susceptible to the worst effects of the disease. A separate case is pending in federal court where a 3-judge panel of the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals temporarily blocked an expansion of voting by mail ordered by a lower court. The appellate panel granted that what's known as an administrative stay, which only stops the lower court ruling from taking effect while the court considers whether it will issue an injunction nullifying it during the entire appeals process. The issue is being fought on multiple fronts, but is likely headed to the U.S. Supreme Court as Texas Republican officials continue to resist expanding voting by mail during the pandemic. Republicans have constantly come out in many different ways saying, basically restricting people's access to, let's say, any type of ballot. Even education. Because Republicans fear education will turn people liberal and shit. Well, let me tell you, if you're worried about that, then objectively, it's because you objectively can't win an election without suppressing the vote. Just like the Democrats and Joe Biden has he had no chance in the Democratic primary. He had no chance until they suppressed the vote of all of my people and the black people of America. This is the two-party system at work. This is why we need proportional representation. This is why we're starting a people's party. Tired of these clowns. Making decisions virtually while telling us we're not allowed to distance ourselves while they're distancing themselves. They don't want to die, but they want us to die. Are you serious? I guess it's the price we pay for democracy in a country that's not even on the top 10 list of the most democratic democracies in the whole world. Some clown ass bull, you know what I'm saying? Like, vote your conscience. Neither of these presidential nominees are entitled to your vote. Join a movement for a People's Party or an Our Revolution chapter in your area. But definitely join the movement for a People's Party. That's all I gotta say. We'll cover Texas voter suppression in a few days, probably. As well as the Iowa election, because both those states had huge voter suppression. And we'll also cover other states eventually. Because we do have to help the Code Pink and the Gray Zone News. We have to help them push OAS to, or at least we have to push the OAS to scrutinize these elections and deem them fraudulent and send election monitors in, and at the very least deem the elections fraudulent, so the whole world can at least know how corrupt the Democratic Party is and can finally give those people, hopefully, the push they need to join the People's Party. Peace.